Well, what a week. And it's only, I don't even know what day it is. What day is it? Is it Monday? Tuesday? I genuinely don't know what day it is. I think it's Tuesday. Anyway, you know how we do things over here. We don't, I don't say hello to everybody because that's shit. I've got chat down here. For some reason, chat isn't working up there for some reason. So I've got chat down here. So if I spend a lot of the time kind of looking down, oh, it's working. Oh, thank you. It's working. Hi. So yes, I'm not going to be saying hello to everybody. I'm just going to do a collective hi. If you'd like to have your name spoken out in lights and, being acknowledged individually, then you may find that other people do that. They do. Thank you to the mods who are here. This keeps wanting me to put ads in. Piss off with your ads. Yes, you can see my face. What's the sound like? What's the sound? What's the sound? What's the sound? What's the sound like? Check. Maybe I should do a poem. Did everybody like my poem? Right, let's have a look. Kitty, he will be stunned. I'm undecided today. Happy to be here. Finally catching a live. Hello, Harsh. I'm so happy to be able to finally catch one of your lives. Hello, Penny. You have made it. You've made it. Trying to make this camera kind of better. So sound is good. Sound is good. Is it loud enough? Or does it needs to be quieter? Louder? So we'll do some... I said this was kind of... We're going to talk about Kiely. We're going to do a Q&A towards the end, because those people who don't really want to stay on too long and they're not really interested, they can piss off and get on with their evening. So let's talk about the poll to start with. So where is the poll? So we looked at the poll and we turned around and said, look, was Kiely's death an accident? And there was an 78% of people said no, 17% undecided, and the rest, 5%, said yes. Now obviously I'm going to end that. I'm going to end it. I'm not going to make it a longie. This is going to be kind of an in the middle, not a quickie. We don't want that at this time, and that would be waiting all this time, and you just get a little bit. Hello, Jennifer. Hello. Hit the like button on your way in. There's 100 and something people in here, and we've got 180 people in and 93 likes. So that means we've got kind of around 90 freeloaders. So come on, hit the like button. I don't ask for anything else. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anything. Just likes. We like likes. Get the likes up. Pretend that the like button is someone you hate and it's their eyes and you can poke them out. What do we got? Sup, bud? Hope you're well. Let's investigate with Dippy. If I'm saying that wrong, I will just blame the fact that I'm British and we can't talk for shit. So what do we got? So with regards to the Kiely Rodni case, which I would imagine is currently driving everybody insane. Kaz has got COVID. I do hope that you're wearing a mask, and if she's not, keep away from her. She will be contagious, and we don't want that. I don't want any complaints in the chat later on that you're starting to get sore throats and stuff. It's not my fault. You're here at your own, risk. So what do we got? Don't text and drive. Finally caught a live. Well, I'm doing it, ain't I? I'm inadvertently going through everybody and saying hi like a complete twat. So let's go. Right. Kiely Rodni case, is it that? I do not I must say, I do not believe it's an accident. I genuinely don't believe it's an accident. I'm not against the fact that you have to appreciate that it could be. It could well be an accident. But I don't believe it is. And there is a lot of reasons why I don't believe it is. The fact that so many of the people around Kiely are sketchier than the people who were around Summer Wells. Then that's saying something. Do you know what I mean? We've got Sammy, who is almost like Jodie Sue Brown. You know, I'm just glad she's not doing 8-hour lives. That's one girl I would not want to be listening to for 8 friggin' hours. But look, yeah, I don't believe it was an accident. I did a video earlier about the airbags, and I may have misinterpreted what they were getting at. Now, from what I was, and I'll tell you why I think that I made the mistake. With regards to, I thought that this woman was talking about the deployment of the airbags. They're clearly talking about it, and the fact that they need to get sort of manufacturers' help to help understand why whatever happened with the deployment. And I was thinking to myself, well, if you're thinking that they didn't deploy, and that's odd, that's not odd. You know, you can be in an accident and no airbag goes off. And to be fair, if she was, just say it was an accident and she's gone down there, she's gunning it towards the water, she anchors on her brakes and hits the water to the point where she just aquaplanes, the airbags aren't going to go off because she's not hit anything. There's not been sufficient force to trigger them. You know, in theory, she could have rolled into the bloody water, and as soon as the vehicle becomes buoyant, it's going to float out. You know, she could have been sitting there, and the car could have floated out there. Do you know what I mean? But so it's not unusual. It's not unusual. What's that? $10 on Swami driving it in to get swimming it out to passenger window. Get it deep, then swimming out the window. You know, the fact that the fact that 2 windows were open. Now, the back window being open, that to me is bizarre. Because to me, the back window, why would the back window be open? If Kiely has gone to that vehicle on her own, just say that she has thought to herself, right, I'm not going to get a lift with anybody. I'm going to drive my own car back. I'm going to drive it back. Why would she then roll down the back window? You might roll down your window, the driver's side window. You know, I could imagine that if it was hot, if you're hot, you're going to roll down your window, if any, aren't you? You're not going to roll down the back one. You're not going to roll down, I suppose you could roll down the passenger one, but what I'm getting at, if you're rolling down the window because you want some fresh air, because you've been drinking or whatever, you're going to roll your friggin' window down. But the driver's side window was not down. Now, for those of you who have, for some reason, not seen it, that window, the driver's side window, was broken when they pulled it out of the water. So the passenger side window was down and the driver's side rear one was down. And that to me screams, absolutely screams, that other people were in that car. Other people were in the car. I believe that someone was in the back and potentially the window was down because they were hot, or they put it down to assist with it sinking. But when you think that we've got a situation with the tow truck guy who was saying that there was 2 people, and I don't believe the female was Kiely, I don't, and I still believe that this scenario, if it is something to do with it, I believe that, look, what's happened is you've got a scenario where you've got a male and a female, and you've got something in the car that they're trying to hide. What's the best way? I think of it like a drug deal. If you're a drug dealer and you've got a friend in the car, and I'm not a drug dealer, this is, someone told me that this is the sort of thing that had happened. And look, you get 2 people, they're told to get out, they get out of the car and they're trying to cover the car. So when someone ends up walking around the car to interact with this guy, the other person walks around the other side to cover the car, to cover up, to protect it. It's almost like goalkeeping the car. Do you know what I mean? And it goes to say that there was more than, one person in that car. The passenger side window being down, the back window being down. That to me screams other people in that car. So even if they were doing something else, if there was 3 people in the car or 2 people in the car, and I saw someone said it might have been that someone wanted to put their window down and they pressed the wrong button. More than possible. The only person who can put the back window down though is the driver. So if they'd have accidentally put the back window down, they'd have still then put their window down. Do you know what I mean? And the driver's side window was closed. Now we're obviously hearing from Nick when he came up that she was in the back. She was in the back of the car. And it would appear that what he meant was that she was in the cargo area of that car. Now, I said she was in the trunk or something and got crucified for it. Because I said trunk. Look, the bloody bit where the bags go. And someone else has now pointed out that there was potentially a belt hanging out of the tailgate. So, look, I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't really see if that's really relevant, only that someone's opened the boot, shut it, and caught the belt in it. Doesn't really tell us anything beyond that. But look, something fishy's going on. I'm going to have a look what some of you guys think. What do you think? The Nixter. Hi, Harsh Nicole from Canada. I agree, this whole situation is incredibly sus. For me, the being in the back is what makes it most sus. With the windows being open, it makes no sense to be back there. I do totally agree, but what I am going to say is this. Because there is one scenario that fits her being in the back. And it is this. And again, it's one of those 1 in a million. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those 1 in a million things that could potentially happen. And that is, look, the car has gone into the water. What do we know about the car going into the water? We know that as it goes into the water, it's going to obviously become buoyant and it's going to drift out. And it's going to fill up front first as the engine bay fills with water. And then what's it going to do? It's going to upend itself. And it's going to go down front first. Now imagine that water's not very deep. And we know that the water has also gone out further. So it would have been a little bit deeper. But what about if the car has gone over and it's sat up like a top? It's sat up like stood up. And Kiely is, whether she's been drunk or she's, something has happened and she can't get out. And then she drowns. The sad fact is that she drowns in that vehicle. But the vehicle is nose down, arse up. I wouldn't make a reference to like a rap song or anything like that. I just mean, that, like the cars like that. Now what's going to happen is Kiely, because she has drowned, her lungs will be filled with air. The body will become buoyant and she will raise through the car. Now, there is a slim possibility that as she is raised through the car and the car is by this time filled up with water, she has floated through the gap over the top of the chairs or through the chairs and she has gone into that boot section. Do you know what I mean? It's, someone's just put body gonna sink first. Not if they drown. They won't. That is one way that they find whether someone has actually, they've died before they've entered the water, because there is no air in the body and they will sink. Whereas if they drown, they will actually float and then they'll sink. Anyway, but that is still going to be, it's plausible, but is it probable? Because of that space, that area is, it's not big. It isn't big. And Kiely wasn't a small girl. She was quite, she wasn't a big girl. She was long. She was 5'8", around 5'7". So, what do we got? Definitely a rap song. Now it's going to be in my head all day. Thanks. Right. Jagger. Let's just talk about this because I see his name being brought up. Jagger. Now I'm going to say something, and some people are going to be like, "No, you're wrong," and I could be. Some people are going to be like, "You're right." We could be. I personally, at this stage, do not see Jagger being part of it. I don't see him being part of it. And I'll tell you for why. Because I don't think he's clever enough. I don't think he's smart enough. And what I see in Jagger is someone who was. He was obsessed with Kylie. He thought a lot of Kylie. I think he was absolutely obsessed with her. But they had broken up, and he actually had removed everything off his social media. He'd pulled everything off his social media, so all the pictures, everything of her, he'd removed it. So he was obviously annoyed about it. But subsequently, he's gone back online. He's gone back online, and he's done all these, these pages for it. He's done all these posts. He's interacting with people, and I don't think he would do that if he was involved. I don't think he would. I know we see it in some crimes where the perpetrator does get involved and they want to be front seat. I see someone saying that Kylie was naked. We'll come back to that briefly, very briefly. But with regards to the Jagger, I don't have him down as a killer. I don't see him. I'm telling you now, from my perspective, I would see Sammy doing something before I see Jagger doing something. That's my thought process. The only thing what throws a bit of a curveball with Jagger is the fact that he's very, very quick to accept what's being said. He's turning around and saying, she was drunk driving, she was, and this. And when you think that he must have seen what we saw, do you know what I mean? He must have seen the Adventures with Purpose, and a massive shout out to Adventures with Purpose. I've got a video coming out tomorrow just touching on that again, so make sure you watch that, all of it. But yeah, do you know what I mean? With regards to Jack, I just don't see it. I genuinely, I just don't. I think he did think a lot of her, and maybe he doesn't want to think of someone hurting her. I can only, I can only imagine until I see more proof, like that literally reeks of absolute guilt from him. I'm not going to. I do believe that he's a bit of a, a tragedy tourist, if you like. He's bringing the fact that she has lost her life to bring him attention, and and bring the woe over to him. Someone put, he gives me stalker vibes. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm right. I'm definitely not saying I'm right. Please don't think that at all, because I could be completely wrong. But I see more of Sammy and the people who was there being involved, and whether they were involved purely, because they were supplying drugs, they were supplying alcohol, and that got out of hand, and Kylie overdosed, and they left her and pushed a vehicle into the water. I see that before I see Jagger. I do. I just at this stage, and again, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm right at all. I'm just saying what I've seen after it's kind of the aftermath of it all. I haven't yet seen him do anything that has screamed, "Look at this guy! Look at him! Watch him! He's done something." He just seems a bit of a drip. He just seems a bit of a drongo drip, and I just see the girls around her as much more calculated. Girls can be nasty, and I'd say that with all, you guys are brilliant, because I do realise about 97% of my subscribers are female. So that was a risky thing to say, but girls can be friggin' nasty, mate. They can be nasty. You know, and like people are saying, his post screamer. I do. The thing is, and what I will say is, I've read his post. You know what I mean? And Jagger's posts are about Kiely finding peace. Do you know what I mean? They're about her finding peace. Now, maybe Jagger believes that she took her own life. Maybe Jagger thinks that she drove the vehicle into the water. We don't know what these kids were talking about. We know that they had a real, you know, this rapper, this XXX Tentacion, they had a love for this guy. The stuff that he spoke about, it was about depression. It was about, you know, these sort of things. There was another girl who had posted on Twitter, and it was Anna, and she had turned around and said, I'm glad that you're not in pain anymore. And I thought, that's now the second or third person who has made reference to Kiely not being happy. Jagger with his comment that he subsequently changed. Now, Evil Exists has the original post on their channel, and I think I've got it on mine on another one. I can't remember which one. But he is literally saying that I hope you've found peace now that you sought. Do you know what I mean? It's someone's put, is it true Jagger is in rehab? Now that's what I've heard, that he's in rehab. We don't look. What we've got to bear in mind is he's not. He was active online. He's now not active online. There is rumor that he has gone into some rehab clinic or some medical facility, and we don't know what is there. Do you know what I mean? We genuinely don't know if something's happened there. Has he, has he found something out that has, shook the guy up? Has he done something? I'm going to put my hands up and say, has he done something? And it's all now starting to come to him. Do you know what I mean? And, he's now upset about it. Who knows? But anything at this stage is possible. But I do think that despite everything at this stage being possible, accident is probably the least probable thing that it could be. Gonna go back into the comments. What do we got? Guilty humans scatter like rats. They do. Sometimes you do see situations where they like to hang around and have a front seat. Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, that case, quite notorious, and their killer, the scumbag, he was front and centre the whole way through. So, sometimes, you do see different things. But, generally, I wouldn't expect them to get involved. And who's done one? Who has done one? Right, Jennifer, thoughts on the roadside assistance guy? I think it's bizarre that we haven't heard anything more about it from a law enforcement perspective. Now, he's claiming that he had video evidence. There was, something in some videos that had stated that the male who he spoke to was, they knew who it was. They'd been ID'd. Now, I think there's a potential that this vehicle had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It could have had nothing, like I said in the video earlier. The car is something that's very, very popular. The colour's very, very popular. So it could have just been that someone else had the vehicle and they were helping somebody else. It could have been that. I just feel that if it was significant, wouldn't we have heard anything by now? If it was significant. The only thing that does concern me is that we do have a scenario where we've got Jagger, who is apparently, like you said, he's either in a medical facility or a rehab facility, and Sammy has apparently got herself a lawyer. Now, that could be purely to go after someone else. Maybe something's been said, or she knows that this could escalate into a situation. Who knows? But that says Addy roadside girl seems unsure about everything. I seems honest, just don't know anything for some reason. Yeah, I think what we've got to appreciate, I suppose, is that's his job. His job is to go out and do these recoveries and go out and help people, and it's I don't know. like I said, what company do you know allows employees to speak to the media about an active investigation and not be referred to the company's PR department? You are right there. I will say that was Suds FM with a valid point. If you work for a big company and you're in that situation and potentially you had spoken to this girl, would the company that you work for allow you to put yourself in that position? That in itself there's something not right. I know the businesses, when I've worked for big companies, we couldn't do anything that would potentially backfire and get the company mentioned. It just wouldn't happen. You know who? Hi. We've got hashtag Creek Squad. Hi. Hopefully I don't have to do any more poems about anybody. Look, we've obviously had the that drama as well, which I'm not gonna say anything more about it. I've done it. I've said my piece. What kind of tow truck driver uses the excuses the CRV wouldn't start? It was in neutral. The 2013 Honda CRV definitely starts in neutral. Yeah, again, he may have just been recalling it poorly. I don't know. I just think and feel that that's either got nothing to do with it, or there is more to it that is going to come out later. It's a weird one that it seems such an important part of this puzzle, and yet we've heard nothing. And with it being like that, my only conclusion is it isn't anything. It's nothing. Or I think we'd have had we'd have had something. Something would have happened by now. Surely we'd have seen something happen. Someone would have been arrested, or someone would have said something. Media would have grabbed hold of something, or something. I don't know. I'm lost for words. The poem was brilliant. Someone put the poem was brilliant. Look, if this all falls through, I'm going into greeting cards or something. Marty, member for 6 months. Thank you very much, Marty. Thank you very much. Kathy with the $5. With the $5, we might donate that to Jagger and get him to have a decent haircut. Because I do feel a bit sorry if it turns out if it turns out that he has nothing to do with it. All of the money that this stream makes, I'll send to Jagger so he can buy himself a new hat and get himself a haircut. Right. I even wonder about the tow truck driver. Look, I'm not 100% sure. I definitely ain't 100% sure about the tow truck driver. Like I said, short and sweet. I just think that at the end of the day, if it was important, something would have happened by now, I think. Mind you, we are talking about this case and the law enforcement around this. So perhaps we should call Adventures with Purpose and see whether they're free and whether they can tell us what's going on. But what do we got? Thanks, man. Perhaps the two kids roadside guys saw meant to push the car in at Boca Lake, hence it being in neutral. Possibly. Why would you call a roadside assistance guy out? That's the bit that I don't get. Someone's gone to the trouble of what's that? Have you watched any of the AWP videos? I have watched some of them. Yes. Thank you, Miss Kitty. What was I talking about? What was I actually talking about? Yeah, I was talking about the fact, why would... Just say, right, you just set me out for a second. If you was mid-murder, whatever, you're going to hurt somebody, or you've already hurt someone, and you've got them in the back of the vehicle, you then struggle with the vehicle, you don't know how it starts, whatever, and you think the best thing to do is call roadside assistance to help you. Now, you've either got to be stupid as fuck, or you've got to have some balls. You've got to have some balls. Someone put they panicked. Panic, then ring your mate. Do you know what I mean? Ring a mate, ring a parent, tell them something. Do you know what I mean? I'll be ringing a parent and saying, look, we was at this party, something's happened to our friend, and, something's gone really bad. What's that? Harris is now president. So I didn't even catch that. Right, we got the tow truck guy. He didn't know she was missing. Yeah, he didn't know she was missing, but he did also say that he did feel that something was off. So what's that? No cops announced. He did report and is legit. He's definitely legit. He's definitely legit. I'm not disputing whether he is legit, 100%. But I just think that it's got nothing to do with it. I genuinely can't see anything having anything to do with it. I think it's going to be two other people from the party or someone else. Do you know what I mean? We can't have the best of both worlds. Do you know what I mean? Because what we're saying here, right? And this is another thing. This is me digressive again. We'll turn around and say that no one's heard anything. No one's seen anything. There's no videos. There's no pictures. There's no nothing. And we've turned around and said, look, the parents have probably told the kids they can't talk. Don't say anything. You'll risk your future, your school and everything. Do you know what I mean? You'll just keep your mouth shut. Even, I think, law enforcement said the parents were potentially telling the kids, keep the gob shut, stay out of it. So then we're trying to say that if something's happened, that these kids have thought best to ring roadside assistance than a family member. Not a brother, not a cousin, not a grandparent, not a mum, not a dad, a stepdad. You know, they've just rung Nick, the tow truck guy. I'm fucking buying it. Not buying it. Not buying it. Like I say, they're either stupid or they got some balls. But at the moment, until I hear otherwise, I'm disregarding that. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. Unless something else comes out, do you know what I mean? Unless AWP comes out and they give us the rest of that story and tell us, then I can't think too much about it. Chrissy Poo B, welcome to the Harsh family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, what have we got? First or second degree murder? What is that? What you're asking? What this would be? Claire Bear? At this stage, I don't know. I would probably say second degree, because this will be to do with either giving someone drugs or alcohol and going down that route. There'll be concealment charges and everything if one of them kids get pinged. What do we got? Trying to beat the crap out. Right, I want to see that. Let's have a look. Music for healing. If my child was there, I'd be beating the crap out of her or him till the answers come out, because that is the human I'm, regardless the effects of it. Want to go play adult games, take adult responsibility. Yeah, there is that. Do you know what I mean? Hi, not so dumb blonde. Blah, blah, blah. What do we got? You wouldn't call your friends or family if you murdered your friend and you in there. You would call the tow truck driver. You see, Mac, I don't think I would. If I killed someone, if this was planned, if this was a planned murder, then you would at least know how to drive that person's car, or you'd have another car. Why didn't they have another car? Why was this car the car? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. If they got phones, Google how to start a Honda CR-V. Do you know what I mean? You've got kids who have got phones attached to their friggin' hands all the time. Google how to start a Honda CR-V. Job done. Wouldn't have even had to have called him. Right. Like I say, there's too many things. I could go down a rabbit hole with that alone, and we'll be sitting here all night. Still sitting here in the morning talking about that tow truck driver. I ain't doing it. Let's go. What do we got? Throw something else. Throw me a bone. I won't know how to act. I'm not a murderer. I think you just tricked me there, Mac. You tricked me to try and get me to tell you what I would do. Right. You know who? I'm not down with the message those parents were... Let's go on quite quick. I thought I put this on slow mode. Bloody slow mode. It's flying off. Send to the children, tell them to dummy up. They'll make brilliant adults. Yeah. Isn't that the fact? That says slow mode's on. It's just getting busy. The big question is who would allow their 16-year-old or 18-year-old to a parties. So what, they graduate? Yeah, I don't think that Kiely and her mum had a very good relationship. I don't know whether you guys caught what they said, what her mum said. But at some point, when she was doing one of her interviews, she actually addressed Kiely directly and said, just come home. We're waiting for you, just come home. And I thought, at that point, I'm thinking, so you've contemplated that she had control of the situation, and if she wanted to, she could have come home. That's the bit that kind of throws me. So I think maybe there was potential. Had Kiely ran away before, had they had an issue earlier on in the day, had they had an argument, who knows? But the fact that she kind of addressed Kiely and said, "Come home," unless I read into that wrong, I might have read into it completely wrong. I'm not always got a problem when a child comes to harm because of something that they shouldn't have been doing, that the parents had a responsibility to stop. Have a massive, massive problem with that. And look, I get that kids can do things without telling their parents. They can. I get it. I just get it. And that's the day and age that we live in now. Sadly, that you can't trust. You can't trust your kids. You can't trust them. Kmar07. Now, that is an absolutely Kmar07, a brilliant point. And I'm going to talk about this for a second right here. And this is the problem that people have, right? As time has progressed, it's got harder for people to, well, it hasn't got harder. People find it harder to parent their children. They find it hard. And what they do to compensate for the fact that they can't parent their kids, they befriend them. They think the best thing to do is to be my child's friend, their mate, their buddy, and give them what they want. Treat them like they're my best bud, and that is a friggin' problem. Right there, you have got a problem. We've seen it here. We've seen it in our life, and it's scary how that can then go into a complete clusterfuck when you then have to try and parent your child, because all you're then, if you've gone this length of time befriending your child and being their mate, and all of a sudden you've got to try and tell them they can't do something because it's unsafe, and you're trying to parent them, they'll just laugh it off because it's like their mate telling them that they can't do something. So it was said the identity of the male at the truck stop was identified, confirmed. My question is, who confirmed this? I don't know. The fact that was said quite early by Adventure with Purpose, I'm guessing it was someone known. Whether it might have been someone at the party. Who leaves their friend when she says she was blind drunk? Well, this is like Elsa, isn't it? So it would appear that Elsa was the very last person to see Kiely alive. Now, she was getting a lift. Her friend had apparently offered Kiely a lift, and Kiely has said, I don't want a lift. Don't want it. But she said this as she's fallen down a hole. Now, I said it before, look, kids can fall. I've got a very, very clumsy 15-year-old daughter, and she can fall straight, she'd trip over thin air. So it happens. But the fact that people have said that, people have said she was drunk. She was so drunk, could hardly walk, could hardly talk. You've heard it. People have said it. Sammy said that she wouldn't get in the car with Kiely because she'd been drinking. She didn't, she got a lift with someone else. That story's changed a few times, but we'll forget about that for now. But look, then all of a sudden, you've got a scenario where Kiely has then apparently walked off to where the car was parked, and these people have just let her walk off into the night on her own. They've even, by their own admission, said that they didn't see any lights or anything up until the point they left. And she said she didn't leave till around 1 o'clock. So riddle me this. So you've got a friend who has potentially been drinking. You see her at around 12:30. You see her walking off into the direction of where her car is. She's already fallen over. You've offered her a lift. So, look, you've offered her a lift. Why did you offer her a lift? Because you didn't think that she was all right to drive? And you've hung about and you've noticed that there's no friggin' lights that have happened. So why didn't you go and check on her? Why didn't you think that she'd have walked down there, got in a car and driven? Why would you have left it half an hour, not seeing any lights, no nothing, and think that's all right, and just fucked off, done one, and left her to it? You know, all of her friends are absolute muppets, the whole lot of them. Absolute muppets. Anyway, my brain is fried. Yeah, my brain is fried. My brain is fried. So I'm late and lost. Yeah, it's been hectic. It's been hectic. We're 41 minutes in. 41 minutes in. And we've covered a fair bit. We don't hang about here. We're just straight to the point. Get in there. Get in, get out. Alright, baby girl. Yeah, Elsa took a lot of the heat off Sammy to meet, because that plays Elsa as the last person seeing Kiely. Yeah, she did. And like I say, it just didn't for some reason it didn't sit right with me. The things that she said, like I say, she let her walk off and then was able to say that she didn't see any lights or anything. So she must have known that she hadn't got in a car and driven. So what if someone else happened to her? What if there was someone else there and they had grabbed hold of her? Do you know what I mean? Very, very popular. And very, very possible. Right. I put importance on what Sammy thought was important. We drank from the same cup. Explaining why both prints are on the cup. Peed together. Any mixed evidence in the woods. Yes, she did. Kathy. Kylie's stepdad had DV with bodily injury charge in the last couple of years against partner cohabitant. Also DUI and narcotics charges. They lived off-grid. Off-grid. I wonder if he knows Jose Roman. Fuck. I don't really want to say that, do I? You know what will come out next? There'll be some connection to Jose Roman. I didn't say it. I did not say it. I don't need anybody putting that out there for public consumption. Yeah, I have heard. I did hear that, Kathy, that he's had some... You know, he's had some issues in the past. He's a naughty guy. But, to be fair... Who isn't naughty around here? You know, who is? You know, who ain't naughty? Who isn't naughty? Even law enforcement are naughty. For those of you who don't know about that guy, the sheriff guy, he's about as dodgy as they come. And apparently it was his son who was at the party. Now, people keep saying who Nate is. I don't know if this sheriff's son is Nate, but Jagger has a friend called Nate. I'm not going to say his surname. It's easy to find if you go onto Instagram and have a look. They're across a few channels together, known each other for a few years, and that is his friend, Nate. And apparently, Nate was at some stage seeing Kiely. Whether that's true, I don't know. Right, what do we got? I have to be honest. The situation is not funny by any means, but harsh. Be having my dying laughing on certain comments. Yeah. If we didn't laugh about some things, and look, I don't find any of it funny. I don't. You know, it's not funny. In fact, some of the things that has happened, I find them... It keeps me up at night. It genuinely keeps me up at night. But I find myself thinking to myself, you've got to find some way of lightening it and thinking how ridiculous some things are. Because if you don't, it's gonna fry your brain. You're gonna be one of these creators who ends up rocking backwards and forwards. Do you know what I mean? In a corner, or having to go on break because you've done yourself in. And like we normally do in a live, when we talk about creators who have disappeared off the face of the planet, has anybody heard or seen from Navalus True Crime? Has anybody heard or seen from him? Look, and I know me and Navalus had a little bit of a falling out. We did. But I'm just going to put it out there. I haven't done anything to him. I haven't done anything to him. If he turns up and he's somewhere, again, I've had nothing to do with it. You know, we didn't see eye to eye. You know, we've spoken. You know, on email. I've said too much. I didn't. I haven't done anything. I should just shut the live off now and have like a week's holiday. That'd be quite funny. You lot would be freaking out. It'd be like, Jesus. Harsh was on live and he was talking about Navalus and dropped himself in it. But he has disappeared. He's properly disappeared. Said that before. What's up? Was he the one fighting with Cam? Nah, me and him fell out. We had a bit of a fallout over the Brandy Neal situation, all of that. You know, he obviously doesn't want to admit that anything in that case, you know, looks dodgy. And I just didn't agree. And I'm not going to say any more about that. You're always pretty fair about douchey treatment by other channels. No, look, at the end of the day, to be fair, I'd want to know if he's alright, you know, definitely. Keys in ignition. They've not said at all. I genuinely do hope that they have found the keys. Yes, sir, I'm typing too fast, typos, but yes, this does make your brain hurt. Yes, it does. Right, come on. Have you looked into the whole 17 thing that her and Jag are into? What's that about? Thank you very much for the donation as well. I'll come back to that 17 thing in a minute because I'm going to wring your neck first. No one is discussing the young blonde water skiing expert the psychic Donna keeps bringing up. She feels he might have done the drunk driving and couldn't get Kiely out. I'll look into that. Leave that with me, Eudora's Mama's Garden. I'll have a look. I'll have a look over on Donna's channel tomorrow. I will do that. The 17 thing. Bark and Mad as well. Thank you. Fight Club was real. Yes, we'll come back to that as well. Bark and Mad, thank you very much for the donation. I will come back to that. Let's cover the 17 and the Chip and Mystery Angels. Have you heard anything about Chip and Mystery Angels channel? No, I haven't. Sorry. So 17. This, you obviously haven't watched the video that I did specifically about this, so that's what you get for that. But look, I'm going to talk about it. The fact is, Jagger and Kiely were into the rapper XXX Tentacion. He is a rapper. He got big quite quickly, and he was sadly killed. He was killed quite young. I say sadly. Look, he'd done some fantastic music, but he had a bit of a ropey past. He was involved in abuse and all sorts of things. And he went through a very, very hard time. Thank you very much for the $4 there, Heani Parker. And yeah, by age 17, he'd been through a lot of things that had kind of sculpted his life. He'd done an album. It was called 17. It was a homage to his life that had led him to where he is today. I'd done a video, like I say, if you go back and look at the thumbnails, I think it's actually got the number 17 in the thumbnail, so I've made it real fucking easy to find. And yeah, basically that has everything in that. And Jagger was the person who actually tattooed 17 on Kiely. He did the tattoo himself on her. So that's that. So what was the other thing? We said we was going to talk about the 17 and something else, didn't we? What was the other thing? That was the Fight Club. Yes. So, yeah, they apparently had fights. They had what they called friendly fights. Now, the flyer that they utilised for the Sanctuary party, which was the one that Kiely attended, the picture in the background was from a previous party in a different location, but same kind of thing. That one of these fights had, that was a picture of one of these fights. The guy had boxing gloves on. Didn't look like he could punch his way out of a wet paper bag, I will add. I think if I'd have hit him, he'd have probably ended up in the reservoir and would have been looking for him as well. He was tiny. But look, they have these friendly fights, and Sammy had spoken about the fact that there was fights. It was quite normal. They had them. Sometimes they got upset about who won. Sometimes they didn't. But look, at the end of the day, they had them. They had these fights. I don't know whether you could say whether one of these fights got out of hand. I don't know. We'll find that out if we find out whether Kiely had any injuries on her. I think that's something that we need to we need to be told first. If it turns out that she had 2 black eyes, a broken nose, and a fat lip, then we probably could start thinking, look. But, these fights happen. These fights happen, and like someone's just said, they're not going to get stopped until someone's killed. It's like the cars and pissing about with the cars. That isn't going to stop. That was happening when I was younger. Right, what's that? If what the tow driver was saying is correct, this is 100% a murder. Sammy is gutsy enough to talk to her instead of cops. But so did Jagger. So did Jagger as well. Do you know what I mean? It is ballsy to say, but because we don't live in this area, I don't live in this area, I can imagine her being that ballsy to say, look, leave it to me and I'll speak to everybody. Do you know what I mean? Is she likely to go into police and say, look, they're going to talk to me before they talk to you? I get a real funny vibe off this. Do you know what I mean? I get a... Did someone just tell me to go and look on crazy critters and crime on the farm? I don't look on that channel. Well, weird. I was just driving and stopped, thought about the 17. I only heard a bit about it, and I look up, and the license plate in front of me ended in 17. That is friggin' weird. That is real weird, that is. Right, what do we got? What do we got? Give me something else. Nobody knows anything about him because we don't even know if he's a real person. Actor, distractor, or... Don't say that in here. Please don't say actor. We know how that's going to go. What's that? Exactly, you don't live in America. I'm out. Exactly, you don't live in America. I don't live in America. I have family who live in America, for those of you who don't know. I've got family who live in Fort Lauderdale, and I have an auntie and uncle who live in Lincoln, Nebraska as well. So, look, I'm not completely devoid of US roots. I think we've kept it quite respectable. People have kept it quite respectable, haven't they? We haven't had anybody blowing up. Is Jagger in the hospital? I missed that part. There, possibly. We do think that there's a possibility that he is. So, look, I like to keep these lives relatively short because I know you guys have got better things to do than stare at this pretty face talking for hours and hours on end. So I like to keep them around an hour. I said I'd do some questions and answers for 10k. I said I'd do them at the end so those people who are not interested, they can go and do something more interesting than listening. But if you've got any questions that you want to ask, personal questions, not real personal, I'm not going to start, telling you if I've got my nipples pierced or anything like that. But if you've got any questions that you want to ask, and fire away. And if we haven't covered everything in this, I will do another live towards the end of the week, and we'll have another chat. I'll perhaps put a post up in, thank you very much for joining us, Slow. Putting up, I'll put a post up in community where you can put some questions in, and I'll go through them questions. If I've missed you tonight, I do apologise. And I'll get them questions done. Don't worry. But let's go through some questions. Let's go. Let's do. I'll give 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Shoot, and we'll do it. Da 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 da. And like I say, if you want your question to stand out, put a question mark or something at the beginning of it, or a Q, because I'm going to ignore everything else. I'm going to ignore you. I'm just going to look at questions. Yes. And for those of you who are leaving, who are not interested, I wish you a fantastic rest of the evening. It's 11:47 p.m. here. What's that? Why can't you do 24-hour live like Jodie Sue? Because I'm not fucking mental. No, I'm curious about your nipple piercing. I never thought about it before. Damn it. I do not have nipples pierced. But, guess what I do have pierced? For those of you who are new to the channel, and do you know what I'm going to say? The people who friggin' know, I'll come back to Rocket. No, I won't. I'll cover that briefly. Rocket had a massive seizure. He went to the vets, and sadly, he had another seizure, and that was fatal. But I'm not going to say too much about that. But yeah, where am I? Be careful. Girls don't like to be ignored. How did Casper wreck an entire freezer? It was a freezer. I'll tell you how he wrecked it. He wrecked it because it's a black box freezer, and my partner had fridge magnets, and she put some fridge magnets on it. They're ones that every time we go away as a family, we buy a fridge magnet. It's kind of some weird thing that she does. And the cat has come running into the kitchen like an absolute soldier and smashed into the box freezer and wiped out all of the fridge magnets, because he sat there obviously watching them being placed and being moved all nicely, and he thought, fuck that, I'm going to knock them everywhere. So he scratched them across the whole front of the fridge. So now it's got racing stripes. Fucking racing stripes. How did he break the mirror as well? He broke that because our oldest, Faith, she had the dressing gown hanging on a stand-up mirror, a full-length mirror. He's jumped it, pulled the whole mirror over and smashed it to pieces. God. Is it weird to get fridge magnets? Oh no, I do that. Yeah, it is. Why do you need fridge magnets? Why do you need to decorate your fridge? What is it with females wanting to decorate everything? It's like, it looks beautiful with it nice and shiny and brand new, and then you go and stick fridge magnets all over it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I was talking about piercing, wasn't I? Piercing. Yeah, so I got a tragus piercing done. I want to unplug this, and take these off. And I had this part of my ear pierced. For those, some of you will know what happened, and some of you won't know. So what happened is I got hit in the ear, and it pushed the ball back into the side of my head. So now it's healed, and it's inside my head. So I've got a tragus piercing with the ball inside. So no nipple piercings, but a messed up tragus piercing. Yeah, how's it doing? It's not doing well. I'm going to have to go to the doctors at some point. I'll have to go to the hospital, and they're going to have to cut it out. But as you can imagine, I don't really want to do that. Why do you think AWP found the car so fast, but police didn't? Because Adventure with Purpose were looking. They actually had eyes that they used. And that's all I can say. There are some things I touch on. I'm not going to go too much into it because I do touch on this tomorrow. But yeah. I have tragus on both sides. I hate earbuds cause of that. Yeah. I kind of wish I hadn't have done it. But it's, like I say, it's actually inside my ear. Friggin' hell. Can't even get a piercing right. Anything else? Before we call it a night, what do we got? Anything else? Anything else is really... What's that? So are you... You are so goth. I have a skeleton ring. We are cool. Except you have an earring thing. Yeah, I have like Johnny Depp jewellery. I always put that one up, but I don't wear them on this hand all the time. I've got more, but I don't wear them all. Mainly because, I'll put that and I don't want to catch my air. If I go out anywhere, then I put them all on. Do you think they found Kiely's phone? I don't know whether they found her phone. I do not think they did. Why do you think the cops haven't had a press release yet? Because they've got nothing else to tell us. If they haven't done a press release, it's because they've got nothing else to tell us. And that is it. They haven't got anything else to tell us. Right, come on. Final 5 minutes. If I had a siren, I would do a siren. 5 minutes. And what do we got? Any questions? What do you think of Sammy lawyering up? Sammy disappeared and then lawyered up. Reminds me of Brian Laundrie. Yeah. Again, I've not 100% seen complete and utter proof of it. I haven't been able to speak to her directly and her tell me, so I'm always skeptical. But if she has, yeah, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. Moody City Mom, did you talk about stepdad? We did briefly talk about the stepdad. He's a bit of a weirdo. What do you think about Sammy lawyering up? We've just covered that one. You should get some wristbands like Ernie Shell with your rings. Can you remember? I should get a cowboy hat. I should get a cowboy hat. Look at my hair. Look at that. That's mental. Hair's mental. I think no new press release because it's on a need-to-know basis. It's trying to tell me to go away. Ads. What case you better? I just made it. My grandson just left. I'll have to watch over. Yeah, Ginger Snaps. We're about to head out. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thank you to absolutely everyone who turned up. I appreciate every single one of you. Thoughts on please. See about questions. Think you miss lots when answers others. Yeah, like I say, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a community post in, put your questions in the community post, and then we'll do another live perhaps later in the week, and we'll go through them questions and answer them. It's gone too quick. If there was two of me, like if I had a twin, we'd get everybody. Hit the like on your way out. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everybody who donated, and for all of those who just donated your time. Time is the most precious commodity we have, so I appreciate that more than anything. If you're here, that's brilliant, and what more can I ask for? That's all I ever ask, apart from make sure you hit the like on the way out. And with that, I'm going to say good night, God bless, and I will catch you all in the next one.